First of all, I'm Jay Purcell. I'm the 2nd District County Commissioner. I'm going to change up what I was going to do tonight just a little bit because I was under the understanding that we would have 2 minutes for closing. So I'm just going to kind of start with some of the things I wanted to end up with, which is probably the best practice. So what I'd like to talk about tonight is basically some misconceptions and what I believe to be some misinformation that's occurred in this community. And if we can think back just a week or two ago, we had 2 prominent Republicans on the national level that were knocked out of their positions by Tea Party candidates. And I've been hearing around the community by a lot of people, why would that happen? And what I would say to you is, it's arrogance. People within the power structure, whether they're in business, whether they're in the media, or whether they're in government, think that they know better than all of us. Where I'm leading with this is a great editorial that Mr. Rust wrote about me. He says, Jay Purcell is a rhino. Now, I'm sure everybody in this room knows what a rhino is, Republican in name only. Well, it started making me think, what other Republicans would he affiliate himself with? Because he said, I'm not a Republican because I don't show up to events. So I thought, well, Nathan Cooper goes to a lot of events. Maybe he's a true Republican. Maybe Rod Jetton is a true Republican. No, I would think that Gary might distance himself from them now. So I thought, well, maybe Gary thinks I'm a tax and spend politician. Maybe that's why I'm a rhino. So I thought, maybe that's what it is. And I thought, no, some of the people that are very closest to Mr. Rust are some of the biggest tax and spend politicians this community has ever seen. Mayor Knudsen, good man. But in his 8 years as mayor, has put 4 ballot initiatives on the taxes. Peter Kinder, same thing. I'm almost out of time again. I'm running out of time. My point is, I'm as conservative as any Republican ever thought about. And I clearly have a record that I can prove that if I'm elected presiding commissioner, I will carry that in.
Okay. Question number 1. What specifically in your education and experience prepares you to be presiding commissioner?
2 minutes, right?
Yes.
I think the most that I bring to this is the fact that I obviously have had several experiences in the last couple of years that have demonstrated that I'm willing to make the hard decisions. I would ask the citizens to think back how many times you've had a politician come to your door and promise you something. It doesn't have anything to do with Democrat or Republican. It has everything to do with somebody committing to you that they're going to advocate for change. How many times has that occurred and you've been misled or felt betrayed? I think if everybody was honest with himself, almost every single time. I mean, think about it. Whether you're Republican, whether you're Democrat, doesn't matter. Things don't change. People say they're going to do things, but when they get in, they don't really change a whole lot. They're part of the problem. There is no question that I'm not that guy. You may disagree with how I've gone about things. Some may even say I'm controversial. I find that a little amusing because some of the most controversial people in the history of the United States were people like John Adams. John Adams had a heck of a time trying to get this country to go against the British. There has to be people that are willing to stand on principle and ask hard questions. The things that we should be asking ourselves as citizens is, why is there controversy? It takes 2 people to create controversy. One person can yell at the top of his lungs every day, but if no one is willing to engage or fight that person, there is no controversy. The facts are, I am that candidate that's going to point out to you, the citizen, the thing that I think would make our county government better. Things like charter government. Obviously, anybody elected now doesn't want charter government, they would lose their job. I have, from the beginning, have said I'm willing to vote to put charter government on the ballot. I'm willing to lose my job if it's the right thing. That's what you should be asking of your citizens, to put themselves below the citizens who you serve. That's what I bring. No question, I will do what's right for the citizens.
Question 2. It's a 2-part question. Part 1. Will you be a full-time commissioner? And part 2. Are there any outside business or interest you are involved in which may interfere with this county position?
There are no outside business or interest that would interfere with my position. Obviously, I consider myself a full-time county commissioner now. I think this is a very interesting question because every election people tend to say they're going to be full-time. The thing that I think most people would find interesting is in my first 2 years, I really believe I accomplished a lot of things. And it doesn't take much for you to go back and take a look. I mean, I settled There's no question about this. I don't know if Commissioner Jones is in the room, but I negotiated the end of a very divisive lawsuit between the City of Jackson and Cape Girardeau County. Saved the citizens $50-some-odd thousand plus interest costs. I helped negotiate. In fact, if you read the newspaper articles, I was one that brokered the deal that bought the first public transportation to the City of Cape Girardeau since 1969. No additional tax increases for the citizens of Cape Girardeau County. I was the spokesperson for Proposition 1, the only tax that I've ever supported, and goes back to my roots as a fair tax person. Not only does that tax create better roads for our citizens, but it allowed us to hire more law enforcement, give them a good, decent standard of living, and ended up eliminating a property tax. So there is a history of things that I've been able to have done. Obviously, as I started to get more involved in government and started to advocate for more change, there were people within government that was opposed to that. I don't think that's without question. There's a reason why they don't want web cameras. There's a reason why they have fought me at every step. So my answer is quite as plain as I can make it. I am a full-time commissioner, will continue to be a full-time commissioner, but you can only be as limited as the people in government will let you be involved as the people in government will allow you to be involved. So I think that's the number one thing. Whoever the presiding commissioner is going to have to set a tone that everyone will have a seat at the table and allow for things to happen in government, even if you may not quite agree with them.
Question 3. There is currently a joint planning and zoning board or commission between the City of Cape and the City of Jackson drawing up a proposal to present to the County Commission to address subdivision infrastructure outside the city limits. Would you be in support of the subdivision planning infrastructure requirements?
No. I can't make that any more clear. There's too much government in our lives. That is the camel's nose under the tent door. Everyone always starts out with some type of premise that we're doing this to protect you. We have some unsavory contractor who's going to put you in a substandard home. We have some unsavory contractor that's going to build a substandard home without fire sprinklers. The free market is what dictates those type of things. People will spend more money and go build quality homes or buy quality homes, I guess would be the case. But we don't need government telling the citizens out in the county that they need to have a certain standard. I believe this probably relates back somewhat to the 2-mile peripheral zone. The argument that keeps being made is we want citizens to voluntarily, or not voluntarily, we want the commission to decide for citizens whether or not they should be in a 2-mile peripheral zone. The facts are the citizens within that 2-mile area could enter the city anytime by voluntary annexation. All the city has to do is prove to them that there's benefits to belonging to the city. But for whatever reason, that hasn't occurred. You have to ask yourself, why would you need a county commission to dictate for people to belong to a city? Why would you need that done? If people want the rights and protections of the city, they would move into the city. Obviously, they want to live in the county because they have more freedom in the county. Now, that doesn't mean to say that there's not issues that happen in the county that are unjust. I'm from the county. But the facts are, a governmental body legislating and telling citizens in the county how to develop property and in what places, in what fashion, is the wrong way to go. It's always the wrong way to go to let government be involved in that type of development.